Hey there, self-care warriors. Welcome back to Self-Care Haven. Today I'll be talking to you about the several reasons why narcissistic abusers are prone to putting down our intelligence and how that serves their malicious agenda. So, in a previous video, I talked about pathological envy and how narcissists tend to feel as if other people envy them. They project that idea onto others while they are the ones who are pathologically envious of others. So, of course, the first reason why they put down their victim's intelligence is often because the victim is usually more educated, more intelligent than them. Now, if you don't believe me, I can tell you from my survey results that the majority of the people who responded were highly intelligent, extremely articulate people. And I want to share a survey response with you that I've been really seeing a theme of coming up again and again. So, this person said, in response to the question, what is the most effective way a narcissist has manipulated you/degraded you? And this person wrote, he has taken a woman who owned her own home, had earned a PhD, and was successful in her career, and convinced her that she was not smart enough to handle her own finances, deal with technology, or make basic decisions. Now, if you weren't intelligent in the first place, the narcissist would have no reason to continually put down your intelligence. That's just a fact. They were threatened by the fact that you were a thinking human being, someone who could analyze, and really step back and reevaluate the relationship and be smart enough to understand that there was that difference between the false self and the true self. And of course, there's going to be so many reasons why victims don't leave the relationship, even if they do know that logically and rationally. But again, that goes back to that whole stereotype about abuse survivors being less than and feeling less than in society, when in fact they're very intelligent people who are in unfortunate circumstances where they are led to be trauma bonded and biochemically bonded to their abusers. And unfortunately, society tends to be very victim blaming and wants to stereotype abuse survivors as less than in order to fit their own agenda of allowing the abuser to escape accountability for their actions. So that is the first reason why abusers put down their victims' intelligence. And the second reason is that if they keep putting you down and making you feel incapable of doing everyday tasks, of completing activities or goals that you are striving to fulfill, then what do they do to you over time, incrementally? They're basically convincing you that you cannot live without them. You're not capable of making your own decisions without them. You're not capable of doing anything right without them. And what tends to happen in the victim's mind, since this is such an insidious form of abuse that builds up over and over and over again, it was best described in a book I recently read called Husband, Liar, and Sociopath. I believe that was the name, and it's an incredible book. I urge you to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below to it. And the book talks about how abuse, this type of really covert abuse, builds up over time incrementally to the point where the victim doesn't realize that it's abuse until they're really in the midst of the trauma bond and they're in the midst of the abuse getting even more and more dangerous and damaging. And the author actually compares it to a frog in boiling water. If you slowly heat up the water, little by little, the frog will not even notice. They'll get adapted to their environment. So that small cutting remark in the beginning turns into something bigger and bigger over time. The insults become more frequent. The criticism becomes more malicious. And then the abuse becomes more and more damaging and more difficult to extricate yourself from. So that's what also happens when an abuser is trying to diminish your sense of self-worth and your intelligence and your ability to complete and accomplish your goals, because not only are they pathologically envious of your intelligence, and not only are they pathologically envious of your accomplishments and your talents and your skill sets, they want to make sure that they are feeding their own sense of false superiority. They can't stand anybody being the best. They feel entitled to be the best at all times. They feel entitled to all the knowledge and the expertise and the talent and the skill sets. And they cannot stand having to compete with a partner who may be more intelligent, more educated than them, or more confident than them in some way. You don't even have to be more educated than your narcissistic abuser for him or her to feel threatened by you, because more often than not, victims do come into the relationship very captivating. They're very talented, they're very, very intelligent, they're very articulate, they're very confident. And what happens is that the narcissistic abuser sees that, and they want to diminish you in that way because they want to make you feel as if you cannot live without them and you're not capable of doing even the smallest tasks on your own. And if they manage to convince you of that, you're going to be less likely to leave because you're going to start believing it. Even if you try to resist that belief, it becomes very subconscious. It's a subconscious sort of programming that they do. They brainwash you into thinking that you're not capable of doing certain things without them. And because they fill up so much of your life and your space early on with their love bombing, you do feel as if your life is sort of revolving around them throughout the relationship and the abuse cycle. And because you spend so much time thinking about them, ruminating over their criticism and their harsh insults, this little nobody, and I'm going to say nobody because in the beginning the narcissist is usually a nobody to you. They're just the person you're dating and you're having fun with. But then suddenly your whole life starts to revolve around them because this type of abuse is so time consuming and it takes up so much of your energy and your headspace. Narcissists basically, without you knowing, rent a space in your head. It becomes a sort of permanent space where they reside. And you are forced to sort of comply with their bullying actions and words, echoing in your head and your mind all the time. And it becomes so consuming for you that the narcissist is able to control you and manipulate you more easily when they're able to convince you that you're not as intelligent as you initially thought you were. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have or how many accomplishments you have, the narcissist will attack your intelligence, whether it's through name calling or sarcastic insults or covert put downs or that duping smile when they've duped you, because they do get pleasure out of duping people, they do get pleasure out of deceiving people. So if you've noticed that the narcissistic smirk usually comes up after a lie that they've told you, or if they've spoken in a kind of language and they've used some wordplay to disguise their deception in some way and they know that they're deceiving you, then they feel accomplished. That's what gives them a thrill in their sick, damaged minds. So there's so many reasons why narcissists benefit from attacking your intelligence. If they are able to diminish you, they're able to make you think that you are not capable of having a romantic relationship outside of them. After they're gone, you're not capable of accomplishing your goals, because if you have a life outside of them, and this is the other reason, then they lose control, and they cannot stand losing control over an object and their prized possession. And when you are their primary source of supply, as in you are their main girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse, then they don't want to lose control over you. And your intelligence threatens that sense of control and that false sense of superiority that they have. And of course, they love putting people down. In general, it just gives them a source of supply in their empty lives. So when they see you struggle with the emotions of feeling diminished and feeling worthless and feeling less intelligent than them, then they feel as if they feel inflated due to that. They feel as if they are so superior, they feel grandiose. It feeds their false sense of grandiosity, and you can't help but wonder, why on earth would this person be so incredibly invested in putting me down when these were the same types of strengths that they used to lift me up in the beginning, in the love bombing and the idealization phase of the relationship? Well, that's what a narcissist does. They will devalue you for the sole purpose of gaining pleasure. But, of course, there's several other reasons. It allows them to continue to control you, continue to brainwash you, and it feeds their false sense of superiority. As long as they feel as if they are more intelligent than their victim, and as long as they can brainwash their victim into thinking that, it's less likely that the victim will try to leave, and it'll be more difficult for the victim to extricate themselves from the relationship, because the victim feels so small and worthless and unintelligent and weak that they don't feel capable of doing things on their own or creating a life that is independent of the narcissist and the narcissist's control over making decisions for the victim. And so we really have to think about, whenever a narcissist attacks our intelligence, it is because that intelligence and that integrity exists. You are intelligent. You are intelligent. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise, whether it's through their name calling, their covert insults. Doesn't matter how someone tries to diminish you. You are a thinking human being with intellect and power, and you are intelligent, you are articulate, you are powerful, and you are successful, and you can accomplish things, and you are so capable of everything that the narcissistic abuser told you you weren't. So I hope this video helps to validate and empower you, and it informs you more about the reasons behind why a narcissistic abuser attacks your intelligence. Please do leave me a comment below if you've ever had a narcissistic abuser attack your intelligence. Let me know how they did it, how it made you feel, and if you did rise up from it, or you're trying to rise up against it, let me know at least one action that you're taking or have taken, or accomplishment that you've done despite the insult that the narcissist has thrown at you. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll talk to you very soon. Until then, take care.